Hi everyone, Ash from Little Apiary Company here. It is autumn now, 26th of October, where we're currently at, and it is feeling cold, about 10 degrees here in Stratford, and this is probably second from last video. This year we'll actually have bees in it. The rest is all going to be off winter stuff, what we do to get through ready for next season. Today it's just a quick run through, take buckets off, feeding's finished, treating's finished. So last little job is to put Mouseguards on to stop little rodents getting into hives. They do that when the bees are clustered tightly. They'll get in and make a nest, generally kills off the hive due to the ammonia and everything else that comes through from it. They'll chew through comb, chew through honey, all sorts of stuff. So it's not great, so we put little Mouseguards on, which I'll show you. So we get a little bit of footage of what a couple of connies are looking like when they pull out the trays and do a few little bits and pieces like that. And then that is them pretty much done until around about 22nd of December. It's the next stage where we'll run through and do our trickle treats with the oxalic acid. And then there won't be anything until next spring for bees anyway. Still plenty of stuff going on, so plenty of videos will be coming out, but this is the last one for the season, bar the midwinter treatment, which will have any bees in. So we'll get set up and I'll show you what I'm up to. Okay, probably not going to be happy to see me because it is cold. I do not want to be mucked about with. I need to get these buckets off. Plenty of feed left in that, so they've not taken that down much. Bit of weight in there, but not a lot. I have to leave this bucket on. What I don't want is I know it's happened in some of my other colonies. What's happened in some of my other colonies is this space has been filled up with wax and all sorts. And that's not great. So I'm going to put this back and next thing is put the Mouseguard on. So this is what a Mouseguard is. It's just a metal sheet with some holes in. See if I can get it to focus a bit better. And each of one of those holes is 8mm. And we put that across the entrance so that the mice can't chew through, enlarge the entrance and get through, but the bees can still get in and out. So we pin that on with some drawing pins, and that'll be that closed up for the winter. So we see the entrance there. Just put the block over. It's a bit fiddly in gloves. Up. Pin drops in there. And that goes in there. So you see there, covering the entrance, bees can get in and out. Just pinned in with a couple of drawing pins. And the reason we do that, as I said, to keep the mice out. We don't do it too early, and we'll leave them on all year because we're going to make sure we get them off at the beginning of spring,
and that's due to the fact that if we leave it on, it'll start knocking all the pollen off as they come in. So as they go through these little holes, pollen baskets get knocked off their legs, lose all the pollen and all the hard work that they've gone through to get it in. So we take them off throughout the summer. There's no problem. When the bees are flying and warm and they're all over the hive, mice aren't going to go in there. They're only going to go in there when it's very cold, when the bees are all clustered up, tight up out the way, and they don't have guards on the entrance and everything. As soon as it warms up and the colony's active again, then there'll be guards on and everything else, and mice won't be able to get in. So that's what I'm doing today, just pulling out the old trays, pulling out any strips from the treatment, checking the weights, and then getting the mouse guards on. And this is what can happen. You see there, space is full of wild comb. I gave them too much space really. The problem was, when you're working with the Apiary trays, which are those things there, you need to put a bit of space on, and I didn't have enough eeks this year. Got to make some over the winter. So I was hoping that just turning my crown boards upside down, I knew it was a risk, but I was hoping we could do it. So what we've ended up with is a whole load of wild comb. So we're just taking all that out. So I'm going to put those back, leave them to it, and I'm hoping that they'll be clear next spring. We'll clean all that out and get them all tidied up, but I'm not digging around in them now. It's far too late in the year to go mucking about, so we'll leave them as they are and deal with it next winter. I knew it was a risk, and these things do happen when you don't have enough kit. Next year we'll be better organised, I promise myself, and I've said that every single year since I started. Alright, that one's all done. Shut up for winter. Next time I see them will be, as I said earlier, trickle treat time, which with all that wax is going to make it a little bit awkward, but it is what it is, needs to be done. Next up, we'll do some nukes. Quick little view of these girls, see if I can get right in on there. You see, I didn't have the plastic cover for this feeder, so I put a bit of cardboard over the top, which has worked most of the time. But I've opened up and they've chewed through right into that bit there, which has got them up in the feeder. You can see there, started to build some comb in there. I'm not going to feed these anymore anyway, they look pretty heavy. So just get the feeder out, get the treatment strip out, sorry, and then put the guard on, and that will be these done. There we go, all done at Stratford until winter solstice, 21st December. I will be down after that to go through, and we'll be looking at trickle treatments for there. That's treatments done and dusted for the autumn. Everything's fed. What I have noticed here, compared to my other sites, they've not taken the feed out the buckets nearly as well here. There is some weight on them, but some of them are still light and not, despite the bucket being sat there, they've not touched it. But other sites I've got that chomped straight through the bucket, emptied it completely. So that's an interesting thing to
to note for this apiary, it's the first year I've worked this apiary, so it will go down in the notes, but if any of you guys have got any ideas why they would have completely ignored the feed we put on while other apiaries are sucking it down, just to note that I use the same syrup in all of my nukes, which have direct feeders, not the buckets, and that's all gone down no problem. They've been sucking it down a bucket each, same syrup out the same buckets, just taking the bucket off and pouring it directly into the feeder. But for some reason here, didn't really use the buckets like the other apiaries did. So if you know of a reason why, if you can think of anything, we're really interested to see if what you come up with. Put it in the comments down below. In terms of treatment, we're all done. We've treated for varroa. I know that there's thoughts on treatment. Some people think it should be zero treatment. Some people think along the lines of that we should be testing for mite numbers all the time, then treat if necessary. I've always treated every winter. It works for me. I know there's mites there. Maybe I should do a little bit more work on research when I've got time over the winter to go through the latest thoughts on mite treatment and how we're doing. I make sure that I cycle all my treatments so that we don't end up with resistance and everything else. We go from Apiary, which was done most of this year. We do Apistan, Apivar. I do oxalic acid trickle treatments in the winter to go through. I've never done the vaporization, the oxalic sublimation, because I don't have all the kit. That stuff's nasty if it gets in your lungs and everything, so you wouldn't want to be mucking about with that if you don't have the PPE for it. And I'm not shaving off my beard to put on a well-fitting mask. So I use trickle treatment, and I use the other autumn treatments which are done on a rotation. But if you've got any thoughts on that subject, again, stick it in the comments below. It'll be really interesting to see what other people are doing and how they think on it. But for now, that's it for the bees. I've got the other two apiaries to do, but they're exactly the same as what I've done here, so I'm not going to go and film that. It'll just become a very boring video doing the same stuff. Next thing, my next few videos is all going to be about the honey house and getting that done, and that's the winter project to work on. So hopefully you guys will stick around for that. If you like what you've seen and you're enjoying the content, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. It really helps me get the channel up and going, and really pushes me on to make more content, and I'll try and get stuff out as fast as I can. Until then, goodbye.